Yeah. Yeah, you can proceed with your questions if you have any.
Yes. One legal entity has one business unit. In this case, legal entity name is same as a business unit name.
You can take how
Can you
you
explain?
want. See how you want
Can you
to
explain
take.
me more?
That is up to business. They want to see business unit legal entity name as a business unit, or else they want to keep name as a different. But ideally, so one equal. That is the point we have to understand. Generally, they take business unit legal entity name only as a BU name if they have only one.
Okay. But I can keep separate name.
You can give separate name. Correct.
Okay. It is not a compulsory.
Not compulsory. Not compulsory.
Okay. And one more question. What about the line of business? Suppose one legal entity, one general ledger, one legal
Before
entity
you
like
raise your question,
consulting.
line of business means this. The company is doing three different businesses, three line of businesses. This is three line of businesses. For each line of business, they can have a separate legal entity, or else with only one legal entity, they can run the different businesses that we call as line of business, LOB, line of business.
Of business. Okay, it is compulsory to maintain the separate segments for the line of business.
It is not
LOB.
mandatory. It is not mandatory. So ideally, just every company maintain the branch wise. That is nothing but company. Here, say this line of business has 10 branches. This 10. This is 10. Total 15. You will record the
So that means
transactions.
that
See,
means that means 15th company.
yeah. Sorry.
That means 15 company, 10 for the consulting and financial service 10 and automobiles 5. That means total company have 15.
25. 25.
Sorry, 25. Yes.
Correct. 25 companies will create. And
Okay.
whether you want to have this LOB as a part of segment or not, that is business decision. There is no great advantage. Even if they club this 10 business unit data, that represents consulting business only, right?
Yes.
That's how you can have.
Okay. Thank you. I got
LOB
it.
is not mandatory. Okay, LOB is not mandatory. Company is mandatory, which represents how many
Company.
locations you are operating the business. Yeah. Any other questions, please?
Thank you. Lakshman.
Yeah. Thanks.
Lakshman?
Yeah.
Karthik.
Please go ahead.
Okay, go ahead.
Hello, this is Purnima.
Yeah, please.
If the calendar is
We are getting some noise from your side when you're speaking. Some maybe speaker connection. I'm not very sure.
um, hello, sir. Am I
Yeah,
audible?
please.
In case if the calendar year is different for different units.
No.
For example, India and US, let us take if they have units and the
Okay.
calendar year is going to be different. At the
Correct.
time of preparing balance sheet, how those things would be reconciled?
So for each country, we'll have a separate ledger. We'll record all the transactions in the ledger only. In that case, separately we'll prepare.
Oh, same company having different place of operations.
Separate ledgers we have to create. For each country, separate ledger, separate primer ledger we have to create.
And two balance sheets will come for the same company at different places?
Two?
Balance sheets?
Yeah. Separately you can create. Say a simple example. So you are running the business in 3 countries.
Okay.
Let's say India and UAE. Okay. So for UAE, USA you will have one primary ledger. US primary ledger. USA primary ledger, India primary ledger, UAE primary ledger. So based on that country operations, how many business units you require in each and every country, you can prepare. Okay. You can business units how many required, accordingly you can record the transactions. Now for US, they'll have a separate reports, and India, UAE, separate balance sheets or income statements or anything they can create separately. And if they want to do the consolidation, if they want to create the single balance sheet or single report for 3 countries business, what they do is they'll convert. They want to prepare the single report in which currency? Say for example in USD, they want to prepare, right? Now what they will do
Okay.
is they'll create one ledger called as consolidation ledger.
Okay. Mm.
Okay, they want to do consolidation in which currency? USD. They'll create consolidation ledger in
Okay.
USD currency. Now India data we have in which currency? India data currency?
We will be having in INR.
INR. We'll convert all the data from INR to USD.
Okay.
And US data we have, US ledger data we have in USD, right? That we don't need to convert.
Yes.
So in UAE primary ledger will have balances in AED. Those will convert to USD.
USD.
Now what we'll do is, from all these ledgers, this is a separate concept. We will deal with this in the GL application. Since you are asking as a question, I'm just trying to answer. Now we'll move from US primary ledger total data into consolidation ledger. From India primary ledger, whatever the data you have, that you have to convert into USD. So that information will send to consolidation ledger. The same way, UAE, whatever the data you have in AED currency, that you have to convert and you have to send to here. Now 3 countries data will be available in single ledger. Now you can create the single report which will represent 3 countries business in single currency.
Okay. So which country's period will be taken?
Which country?
Period. Calendar year will be taken.
No. Which country will have a period within the consolidation ledger?
Like calendar year.
Here you will have one calendar. In the consolidation ledger, you will have a calendar. Doesn't matter. Say when year starts, when year ends, doesn't matter. Here you will have a John. Here you will have a John. Here you will have a John. Here also you will have a John. In the same way, if you have a 12 periods here, here also you will have a 12 periods. But here, what period starts, when year starts, when year ends may be different, but periods will have. Okay. The July month, after the data we have in these 3 periods, you can send to this July month. Here calendar is starting when doesn't matter.
Okay.
Yeah. Whatever the data you have in the specific period, the data you can send to this consolidation ledger. Even that years may be different. Calendar years may be different, but you'll have a periods, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So the respective period we will be transferred.
Exactly. Here, whatever the data we have in the July month, we'll send to July month of this consolidation ledger. This may start from Jan to December. This may start with a different period range also, right?
Okay.
We'll have a data from April to March, but here it may be Jan to December. Here you have a July, here you have July. You have to set. That's how we do.
Okay.
Yeah. Right. We will understand these points. We have a consolidation concept. When we are working on GL, we'll come across with that. We'll see how to convert INR to USD, how to send to consolidation ledger, how to create consolidation ledger. We have other ledger types also, why we use. Those are the different concepts. When we deal with... Please.
I was thinking like instead of creating 3 primary ledgers, we can create one primary for the
that's
US.
wrong. That's wrong. Because in India primary ledger, you have to use INR, right? INR is the local currency. Okay. If Oracle is giving the option to choose multiple currencies into one primary ledger, your thinking is correct. But
no, I was thinking like keep one primary for the US and for India and UAE keep the secondary.
No, that is wrong. Secondary purpose is totally different. You will come to know that. Okay. Secondary for reporting purpose, not to record the transaction. Yeah. Right. Any questions here, please?
Lakshman, on the enterprise structure, the top you gave for enterprise employee data, right?
Correct. Employee data with the help of HCM applications.
HCM. So a couple of questions here. Why would you need a separate, a cost? Because you have a business unit and legal entity, you could have associated employees to either one of it. So that's first question.
See, one second.
Second question.
One second. Business unit.
Yeah.
to maintain the business transaction, not to maintain the employees. That is the reason we need separate enterprise.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, like my next question is like, you are, HCM. Do we need to have HCM? Like, let's say my company only has financials, or like, I don't want to subscribe for HCM. Maybe I have HCM from some other company, like a Workday or like Info or any other company.
Or Workday, etc. Yeah.
So in this case, should I have to have Oracle Cloud HCM module as well, just for maintaining the employee data because I have Oracle Financials?
Yeah. Even if you are going to use only Oracle Financials applications, you need employees data. If you subscribe, okay, Oracle will allow you to use the basic functionality of HCM. That means employee creation. Okay, their jobs creation, the basic things which are required to run the finance transaction processes. What level of information is required, up to that Oracle will allow, even if you don't take the subscription. That we call as shared HCM.
Shared HCM. Okay.
Yeah. Yes. Or you can say shared HR.
Okay.
Yeah.
So is this where you, like, is this the HR organization? Because I heard the term HR organization.
Yeah, in HCM only we'll have HR organization.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks. Any questions?
Hey Lakshman, Mahesh here. Hey, so Lakshman, the whole exercise for creating this chart of account is like just we need to identify the unique transaction. That's it, right? And based on those business things, we create our chart of account so that we can identify
Correct.
our
Why you are
transactions.
identifying the transaction for reporting purpose? You should be able to record the transactions more detailed level. Accordingly, you should be able to produce the reports. That is the reason we are going to create the chart.
Okay, got it, Lakshman.
Yeah, fine. Any other questions based on the chart of accounts and enterprise structure, please? Okay, give me just 5 minutes. I'll compare this Fusion enterprise structure with EBS multi-org. If somebody from EBS background, this would be useful for them. Who doesn't know EBS, don't worry about this point. You can ignore this discussion, or else just you can tune. Fusion enterprise structure. This is Fusion enterprise structure. Okay, when we talk about EBS multi-org structure. Okay, before Fusion we have EBS applications. Again in EBS we have 11i version and R12 version. We are not talking about 11i. 11i is outdated. We are talking about 12. I'm taking the case as 12. In case of multi-org structure in EBS R12, let me write as R12. If you are not from this background, ignore this point.
What's the
Sorry?
what is the latest version in Fusion?
Yeah, we'll discuss once we get into the application, or else okay. Version is, that is release 13. Okay, Fusion latest version is release 13. Again, within that, the patch applications and all we have, that also we'll discuss. I'll show you in the proof in the application also. There you can understand. Yeah. But now, if your question is what is the latest version in the Fusion, release 13.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thanks. So EBS R12 multi-org structure. So in EBS, as a same as Fusion enterprise structure, on the top level you can have business group. We call as BZ. Under business group, you can have primary ledger. Under primary ledger, you can have legal entity. Under legal entity, you can have operating unit. Under operating unit, you can have inventory organization. Okay, these points only for the guys who are from EBS background. Other people can ignore these points. So in EBS, by use you can create n number of business groups, but in the Fusion you can create only one enterprise. If you are doing the implementation for 10 countries, for each country you can create the separate business group. But if you are going to implement Fusion application for any client, you can have only one enterprise. How you can maintain the employees data country-wise? Here, country-wise, you can create the business group. Within the business group, we can maintain the employees, and to support that, we use HRMS applications, which are equal to HCM applications. So in EBS, you can create multiple business groups. If you are implementing for 5 countries, you can create 5 business groups. In each business group, you can maintain country-specific employees information. But in the Fusion, you can create only one enterprise, even if you are going to implement for 100 countries. So equivalent to business group, what we have in Fusion, we have a concept called as LDZ. LDZ stands for Legislative Data Group. Here see business group, here data group. The business group, what we maintain country specific data. Here also we will maintain country specific data. So equal to business group, we have LDZ in the Fusion application. By using LDZ, even if you have one enterprise, within that enterprise, country wise you can create the LDZ. US LDZ, India LDZ, UK LDZ. This is how you can create country specific LDZs. So that country specific information you can maintain within that LDZ, and you can run the payrolls also. The employees information you can maintain country specific to run the payrolls with the concept called as LDZ. Okay, this is the point we have to understand. In case of EBS multi-org structure, we don't have any division. Okay, we don't have any division concept in the EBS. So under business group, you can see only primary ledger. Okay, here we have primary ledger, same we have here also as is. There is no difference within that. The purpose and everything remains same. So here under primary ledger we have a legal entity. Here also under primary ledger we have a legal entity. And in EBS under legal entity we have operating unit. The same operating unit concept, the name they changed in the Fusion to business unit. Okay, so just name only they changed, everything is same. What is slightly different compared to EBS, that you'll come to know when we are working on the application. So as per EBS, under business operating unit, you can have inventory organization. In Fusion, under business unit, you have inventory organization. Same, almost same. In EBS, we don't have division concept. Here they introduced, but they made it as optional. It is not mandatory. So here you can create a number of business groups. Similar to that, in Fusion, you can create a number of legislative data groups, but legislative data group doesn't falls under enterprise structure. Okay, when you say enterprise structure, so we'll have enterprise. Under that, you can have a divisions. Under divisions, primary ledgers. Under primary ledgers, legal entity. Under that, you can have a business units. Under business units, inventory organizations. There is no LDZ as a part of enterprise structure. But as per multi-org structure in EBS, you can have business group as a part of multi-org. That is only the point which you have to understand. If you are from EBS background, any questions please. If you are not from EBS background, don't worry about this. Anyway, this is not required for you. Just for comparison purpose, I am addressing this. If anybody from EBS background, any questions on this point by comparing with the Fusion enterprise structure, please. Okay, no questions. Fine. So when you talk about chart of accounts, so as per our business requirement, when you say business requirement, as per our reporting requirements, you have to design your chart of accounts. When you design the chart of accounts, out of all the segments, one segment you have to choose as a primary segment. Okay, one segment you have to choose as a primary segment. So ideally, the primary segment is company. When you select one segment as a primary, what you have to do is when you record the transactions. Okay, when you record the transactions, each and every transaction you have to balance at that segment level. Say for example, I'm creating transaction. Company is 1. I'm taking C1, company 1. D1, department 1. Okay. Or I'll say department is HR department. I'm recording one transaction. And the remaining segments, forget about it. For our understanding, we'll take 3 segments: company, department, account. So account is salaries account, or say account is some expense. Say this will be debited. We are spending, it is debiting, say $10,000. And you have to create equivalent credit line. So in that case, I'm taking credit line company 1, department, HR department, and say cash. We are paying cash. So it's credit. That means we are spending, it is debiting, we are paying, that is crediting. So this is how you will create the accounting entry. Right? Take example, we have only 3 segments in the chart of accounts. This is how we have to create. When you create as per balancing rule, okay, as per accounting rule, whatever debiting in the first, whatever the company is debiting, the same company should credit also. Here, already accounts are different. The debit expense is debiting, cash is crediting. Here, HR department is spending, maybe finance department is paying, nothing wrong. But it is happening which company is spending, that company only has to pay. The inside of the segment values can be changed. That means in every transaction, what are the debit and credit lines we create? Okay, when you spend and when you pay, or when you buy and when you sell and when you get the money, whatever it may be the business scenario, business case, every transaction we have to debit and credit the accounting. So if you take this example, we are spending, we are paying. Departments, in the debit you can have one department, in the credit you can have other department. Debit always one account and credit always will have a different account. But when it comes to company, it should be same. Okay, so company 1 is spending, company 1 only should pay. That is a real scenario. There may be some other scenarios which falls under intercompany. One company spends some expense, other company will pay. That is internal transactions. As per real business, so if company is 1 is spending, company 1 has to pay. So that means in every transaction, company code should get balanced. In the debit and credit, company should be balanced. When you create the chart of account, you have to decide which segment level you have to balance the transaction. Ideally, company level only you can balance. So you have to choose which segment is primary segment. That segment level, every transaction should be balanced. That is the reason company segment you can call as primary balancing segment. Okay, company segment. Here you may change the name to business unit, or you may change to branch, or you may change to outlet, or you may change to store. Okay, what level? Okay, what level you are going to balance the transaction? That means what level you want to prepare the reports primarily. Of course, you can prepare the reports based on these elements also, but which is the primary element where you want to consider each and every transaction belongs to what base you want to prepare the reports. We discussed how many business units we have, accordingly we create the companies. So for each and every business unit, if you are recording the transaction for business unit 1, the debit and credit should represent business unit 1 only. That means one company only. That is the reason from the chart of accounts, one segment you have to identify as a primary. With that segment, every transaction need to be balanced with the debit and credit. In debit and credit, company should be same. That means the company is equal to business unit. In one business unit, if you are recording the transaction, the debit and credit side, you have to show that business unit related company code only. So that is the reason always we use company as a primary segment. So with that company, with that segment, we have to balance each and every transaction. That is the reason company we call as primary balancing. If you want to make other segments also as a balancing, you can make. department also, if you want to make as a balancing, yes, you can make. Since company you are making as a primary, this you can make as a secondary balancing segment. This you can make as secondary balancing. Even if you want to balance each and every transaction division level also, if you have a division segment, this you can call as third balancing segment. Oracle is giving the flexibility. You can manage each and every transaction, any transaction with the 3 segments. Okay, 3 segments. With the 3 segments only you can balance. With the 3 segments only you can balance. But reality, we never go with this n number of balancing. Ideally, we use only 1 segment as a balancing, that too primary balancing. If you go with the more than 1 balancing segment, in every transaction we have to make sure that along with the company department also balancing, division also balancing, that is really not required. As per real business requirement, one you have to choose as a primary, that you can make as a primary balancing segment, so that with that segment only you can balance each and every transaction. Other segment values in the debit and credit, it can be same or different, how we require you can provide, but you don't need to set rule in the system. So when you create the chart of accounts, we have to finalize one segment as a primary balancing segment. Which is the primary segment within our chart of account? What segment level you want to balance each and every business transaction? Within the transaction, debit, credits, which need to be balanced. So if you make company as a primary balancing segment, what system will do is, if you create transaction like this, system will verify 2 points. The debit company is equal to credit company or not. The debit amount is equal to credit amount or not. If debit company is not equal to credit, it won't allow us to process the transaction. If debit amount is not equal to credit amount, it won't allow us to process the transaction. So we are setting the balancing rule in the system at one segment level. Ideally, we have to set at company level. So since we are setting company segment as a primary balancing segment, okay, so we are considering as, now you can say company as a balancing segment. Okay, which is your balancing segment means you can say company as a balancing segment. How you can say company is a balancing segment? Company level only you want to balance the transactions. That is the reason company segment you can call as balancing segment. When you create the accounts, in the chart of accounts, we have to set the nature. If you create the account called as salaries, you have to set account type as expense. If you create account called as cash account, you have to set account type as a asset. These all points will come to know. You can find this complete information in the system also. When you are practicing, you will come to know. If you are not aware of which account is nature is what, you don't need to worry about it. That complete information Oracle is providing, we can go through and understand. You don't need to worry about it. If you are not worried about how the cash is asset, how salaries are expense, that complete information we can go through. So what are the accounts we are going to maintain within the account segment? You have to set the each account is which type of account, whether that account is expense account or revenue account, liability or asset, you have to set. Since account level, what are the, in the account segment, what are the account values we create, all the accounts we create, for that we have to set the nature. That is the reason account segment we can call as natural account segment. Okay, account segment we call as natural account segment. Sorry. So we discussed, when we discussed about chart of accounts and all, we discussed, okay, minimum we have to create 2 segments, maximum we can create 30 segments. When you say minimum 2 segments, what are those? Company and account. Now you can change the name. Company segment you can call as which segment? Company you can call as which segment?
Balancing, right?
Balancing.
Yeah, that's it. Now you have to use the naming convention as 2 segments are mandatory. Those are balancing segment, and another segment is
Natural account.
that's natural account segment. These 2 segments are mandatory. The initial, when we start discussing about 2 segments are mandatory, one is balancing, other one is a natural account segment, we cannot understand. That is the reason I given the names as company and account. So we generally we have to say If somebody will ask you which segments are mandatory in the chart of account, now you have to say balancing segment and natural account segment. Balancing segment means what? What segment level you want to balance each and every transaction, what segment level you want to produce the reports as a primarily, that segment you call as balancing segment. Natural account means always account segment is natural account. Okay, because in the account segment, what the accounts we create, we can set the nature of the account, which type of account that we can set. So this is the point we have to understand. In every chart of accounts, two segments are mandatory. Those are balancing segment and natural account segment. Remaining segments, client can choose, okay, what segments they require. If you are going to implement fixed assets application, cost center segment is mandatory. Okay, cost center segment is mandatory. Ideally, we'll take department as a cost center segment. Okay. So if you are implementing to create the chart of account, two segments are mandatory: balancing segment and natural account. If you are going to implement fixed assets application, along with that we have another application called as expense application also. You can call as I expense or fusion expenses. If you are going to implement fusion expense or fixed assets application, along with these two segments, cost center segment also will become mandatory. But if somebody will ask you how many segments are mandatory, two only mandatory. Based on the condition, this third one will come into the picture. Cost center segment also mandatory along with these two segments if you implement fixed assets application. That is a point we have to understand. Ideally, we just treat this department segment as a cost center segment. That is the reason when you create the chart of accounts for a department segment, you can give the name as a cost center also. To track the expense, we can use this department that you can call as cost center. So if you are not implementing the fixed assets, two segments are mandatory. If you are implementing along with those two, department also mandatory. Remaining all are not mandatory. That is completely based on client business requirement. Any questions here, please? Fine, no questions. Now we'll look into a few points when we are going to design the chart of accounts for any client, what points we have to consider as the best practice. Okay, so we discussed few points. Okay, we'll just list out few points which you have to consider when you create the chart of accounts. Okay, we can say best practices for designing the chart of accounts. Okay, best practices to design COA, chart of accounts. The creation, whatever the chart of account we create in the chart of account, simply we call as designing the chart of account, because we have to speak with the client and we have to discuss, we have to finalize. So all put together, simply you say we design the chart of accounts. It's nothing but we'll provide the solution with the chart of accounts is a key element. Okay, key components, the entire implementation. So when you look at the best practices, when you talk about best practices to design the chart of accounts, always use one balancing segment. Oracle is allowing to use up to 3 balancing segments. Company you can take as one balancing, that is nothing but primary. Department you may use as a secondary balancing. Division you may use as a third balancing, or else you may use project as a third balancing. Up to 3 balancing segments you can use in the chart of account. But as a best practice, you can use only one balancing so that you won't be having any issues. Otherwise, always you have to take care of the same department is balancing or not in the debit credit, division is balancing or not. You don't need to worry about which is balancing or not. The primary segment is balancing, that is more than enough. So always just you can go with a rule called as one balancing segment in the chart of accounts. Even see, take simple example. Oracle is giving the flexibility up to 30 segments. They are giving 30 segments. They are recommending to use less number of segments. Otherwise, you'll have a performance issues. The same way, even you can use up to 3 balancing segments in the chart of accounts. The best thing is go with only one. Otherwise, depending on some complex business scenarios, we'll have some challenges. So that is the reason always we recommend to the client to go with only one balance segment in the chart of accounts. Okay. One balancing segment in COA, chart of account, which is that ideally company, or you can call as legal entity, or you can call as business unit, or you can call as branch, outlet, or unit. Any name you can give. Okay, but ideally we use the name as a company. Other point is we discussed. When you design the chart of account, we have to understand there could be some growth in the business, or there can be some business expansion in the future. In future, if the client wants to add one more segment, it is not easy. We can do it, but that we have to do as a separate project. That will become big task. What are the segment we don't have in the chart of account? If you want to add it by just taking care of entire existing data, that we have to handle as a separate project, which we call as redesigning the chart of account. Again, that is a big task. So instead of going with that, what we have to do is we have to plan future segments in every chart of account, so that in future any segment is required, client simply can go and add one more segment, they can start using. So that is the reason we have to suggest to the client to have a future segments. That's very, very important. So we should recommend to the client to use the future segments. Okay, we should recommend to the client to use the future segments. And why we are preparing the chart of accounts? Not to just record the transactions, to meet the reporting requirements. That's very, very important. What are the chart of accounts we are preparing? That is meeting as per their reporting requirements or not, we have to see. As per their reporting, what exactly required, those we have to include in the chart of accounts. As per their reporting requirement, they may need lot of data in the chart of accounts, but everything is not required, which can be tracked in the specific applications. Those you can track in those applications. Which data commonly they required across all the applications for reporting, that only you have to take into chart of accounts. So we should consider the client reporting requirements when you are designing the chart of accounts. Okay, reporting requirements we have to consider. That is very, very important. And another important point we discussed, don't use the segments which are specific to particular application. Say we use supplier in the payables, or along with the payables we can use in the purchasing also. The supplier belongs to payables and purchasing. So that sort of element you should not take into chart of account. Whatever the segments you are taking into chart of account, that should be useful in the most of the applications, but not to the segment should not be specific to one application. If the segment belongs to one application, you don't need to take into chart of account, that you can anyway track in the specific application. Like segments like customer, supplier, item, you no need to take into chart of account. Those are specific to particular application. The same point we have to consider. When you do this chart of account related designing and all, client may ask, okay, we want to have a supplier. Then you have to tell with the supplier what you can do. When I record the transaction, I want to select the transaction belongs to which supplier. Client may say, yes, you have to tell when you are recording the transaction, the payables or purchasing application, you will have an option to select the supplier. So you don't need to include that as a part of chart of account. Chart of account we have to design to use across applications. The information what you are going to have in the chart of accounts as segments, that should be useful in the most of the application. So we should not use the segments which are specific to the application. The same point you can say, okay, don't use segments. Okay, don't use segments, or say don't take segments in COA which are specific to application. Okay, one or two application. Whatever you are taking as a segments into chart of accounts, so those should be able to use in the multiple applications. You take example company. In any application you record the transaction, we have to select the company. Account segment. In any application, you have to select the account. Department. When you have a company, definitely department also should belong, I mean, the transaction should belong to specific department. The same way project. So what are the transactions you are creating? If you want to capture the transactions belongs to which project, then you have to have a segment called as project. This is how we have to validate all the points. Whatever we are taking as a segments into chart of account, that could be useful in the most of the applications. May not be all applications, most of the application, but that should not be limited to one or two. If it is limited to one or two, don't take into chart of accounts. Okay. And to support your reporting requirements, what are the segment values you are going to create? Okay, establish parent and child relation. You have to take care of parent and child relation in the chart of account. Okay, when we start working on the application, you can understand this point. Say for example, I am creating accounts. I have 100 asset accounts. For all 100 asset accounts, I can give one parent account. I may give account called as all assets. Now I want to know the value of total assets. Okay, total assets. In that case, I have to go with all 100 accounts. Instead of selecting all 100 accounts, okay. So here, what are the accounts I have? Say I'll have accounts 1, 2. This is how I'll have accounts. Sorry. So this is how I have 100 accounts. Now, if I want to find out what is the total value of assets, I have to select all 100 accounts. Then only I can find out what is the value. If I have one account for all these accounts as a parent account, if I select all assets have one account, the account number I may give something. Say I will give this number, parent account. If I select this account, under this parent only all these accounts we have as a child account, so that this value will display the total balances of all the accounts. So this will be useful in your reporting. When you prepare the reports, okay, you want to know the total expense. Instead of going and selecting all the expense accounts, what are the parent account we have for all the expense, select it, it will display the balances which are belongs to all the child accounts which are under that parent. So this we should take care. Okay, in our classes we'll go through that point more detail level. Now just you consider that point. Okay, when you are designing the chart of accounts, what are the values you are maintaining for company or account or department or any segment, go with parent and child relation, so that will help you when you go with the reporting. Even if you don't use a parent and child also, you can go with the reporting, but it will become big task for the users when they want to prepare the reports. If they want to see all the assets, they have to select all these accounts. If they have a parent for all these accounts, yes, simply they can select one account. It will display the complete information related to all the child values. Our job will become easy. Our job in the sense, business users who are going to use this application, their job will become easy. As a functional consultant, as a finance functional consultant, we have to recommend this to the client to use the parent and child. Of course, the companies means the clients who are going to use this application, what are the application they are using before coming to Fusion, and almost all the applications they follow these practices, but we have to make a note of this to suggest to the client. Okay, so that is another point. And one more point is already discussed. So how many business units you have, those many companies you have to take. Okay, so create companies in the chart of account based on your business units. Okay, or say simply companies, okay, based on business units. That means how many business units we have. Okay, when we just talk to the client, you will come to know all these points, like how many branches they are operating. Then you can give the number as these many business units, how many warehouses they have, those many inventory organizations, how many legal entities, how many registration they have, how many countries they are operating business based on that primary ledger. Okay, anyway, enterprise is only one. If they want to division, yes, you can have a division, but it's completely optional. Okay, so companies based on the business units. And if they want to have a division, instead of having division as a part of enterprise, that you can include as a part of chart of accounts. So these are the points which you have to consider when you are going to design the chart of account. These are very, very important. So your entire implementation is going to be successful or fail. That depends on the chart of accounts, how you are designing. That's very, very important. Any questions from anyone, please? No questions. Fine. And today we'll see how to create the user in the application. Okay, how to create the user in the application. So when you talk about application, okay, when you talk about application, what are the application we are going to use? Okay, what are the application we are going to use? We are going to use the different applications, right? So we'll have a different applications. Say payables, receivables, general ledger, fixed assets, and purchasing, order management, various applications we discussed. So we'll have a different applications. When you talk about different applications, okay, just let it be no issues. So we have a different applications. Again, to store that application data, we'll have a database, right? We'll have a database. When you talk about application, we discussed application is, what is the meaning of application? Application means we'll have some pages or forms, and we'll have a reports also. The total data can be stored in the database. So wherever we have our applications and database, that environment we call as instance. Okay, that environment we call as instance. We call as instance. What is the meaning of the English term instance? It's nothing but copy. Instance meaning is copy. That means we are going to use the software copy. Whatever Oracle built, they are giving one copy to us to use. That we are calling as instance. In case of cloud, the instance we call as pod. P-O-D, pod. Okay, we have iPod. The same way, this is a pod. Instance you can call as a pod, which is a very lightweight. Instance you can call as pod. So in fact, Oracle is not giving any definition for pod. Simply it is a pod. You can Google, you can search, and you can find certain definitions. Those you may apply, may not apply. That you don't need to worry about. Simply instance we call as a pod. So when we are working for any client, how many instances the client can have? Say one client is going to implement Fusion applications. We are going to work as a consultants for that company. So in that case, how many instances client can have? So a client can have by default from Oracle 2 instances or 2 pods. You can use any name, instance or pod. So a client can have 2 pods. The one we call as test instance. The other one we call as production instance. Okay. One we call as test instance, other one we call as production instance. So when we start doing the implementation, first we will use the test instance. Okay, first we'll use the test instance. We'll create the chart of accounts, we'll create the business units, we'll create the primary ledgers, we'll create inventory organization, and we will test it whether that instance is working fine or not, whatever the client need, how that can be handled. We will test it and we'll show to the client. Okay, this is how you can create invoice in the payables. This is how you can create the payments in the payables. This is how you can create the suppliers in the payables. This is how you can create the sales invoice. This is how you can run the P2P and O2C cycles. We have to show to the client. Everything will show in the test instance. If everything is accepted by client, we shown to the client how that business can be handled in the system, then client may says, no, this is how we don't want, this is how do the changes. Accordingly, we do the changes in the test instance. Again, we'll show to the client. Once client says okay, then the same setups we'll do in this production instance. In the production instance, we should not test anything. We'll do all the setups, we'll create the enterprise structure as per the client business, and this will be used by business only. We should not touch this. We will set up this production instance as per their business requirement. In the test instance also, you can create your enterprise structure and you can test, you can verify how everything we are able to create or not, how this can be created, the real process, those will show to the client by testing. You can create sample transactions and all. But when you just set up this production instance, this should be used by client business users. Okay, production for real business activities, test before they start with the production. So what solution we are going to provide, that we will set up in the test instance, we'll test it, we'll show to the client. If they says okay, whatever we did in the test instance, the same we'll do in the production. Or else whatever the setups we do in the test instance, you can move to production. Transactions we don't move from test to production. Real business transaction need to be created in the production instance only. Okay. If the client is going to use the PaaS instance, in case of SaaS, okay, SaaS, software as a service, we discussed all this. In that case, we'll do the testing here. If client is going to use the PaaS, okay, in that case, we have to do the testing. PaaS will allow us to do some developments. We do the customization. The same instance you can use for development also. Okay, the same instance you can use for development as well as testing purpose. That means within the instance, whatever the new pages or new reports, whatever client required which are not available in our payables receivables application, those you can create. When we can create, if client is going to use the PaaS subscription, platform as a service, that allows to create the customizations. So same instance they can use for development, because by default Oracle provides only 2 instances. Or else your client can take, your client can take separate instance. By default, client will provide 2 instances. If you pay to Oracle, Oracle will provide 1 more instance. So they can get 1 more instance for development purpose. If your client is having subscription like PaaS subscription, they can have 1 more instance called as development instance. Okay, development instance. So this is the point you have to understand. Okay, when any client will take this subscription for SaaS or PaaS, they'll get 2 instances only. In case of SaaS, okay, 1 test instance enough to test everything. Then we can go to production. Production is the real instance which client will use. If anything is not working in the test instance, ideally we do the testing within the test instance based on the scenario and all. Okay, reality DBS can copy this production to test. Okay, so that here the same production data will be available here. That data you can use for testing. But within the test instance, we should not do any testing. This is to record the real business transactions only. So the development instance, some new components, custom components can be developed. That can be new page or new report or developing the interface, and all those they can develop within that. If whatever they develop, they will move to those development into test instance, will test it. If everything is working fine, the technical people will move the same into production for real usage. So this is how we can maintain the landscape of the instance in case of Fusion. By default, we'll get 2 only. If it could be SaaS or PaaS, only we get 2. So the same test instance you can use for development also, or else your client wants to have a separate instance for the additional instances. Oracle client should pay to Oracle. In that case, they can get the development instance. This development instance we can use to develop. Test instance we can use for testing purpose. It could be standard functionality which Oracle is providing. That could be the functionality which is developed by technical people. Everything will test it. If everything is working fine, then only that will move to the production instance. So this is the landscape. This we call as landscape of instance, how many instances we use. Any questions here, please? We have
Lakshman, is there a way
also
to migrate the setup?
whatever we discussed based on that. Any questions, please? Yeah.
So is there a way to migrate the setups from test to production instance?
Yeah, we can
Or
set us from development to test test to production or one instance or any other instance. Yes, you can move.
By Oracle functionality or manually?
Not manual process. If you are moving through manually, that we don't call as moving, right? So
Okay.
there is some future. Okay. That anyway, let's talk since you are asking. There is a concept called as configuration packages. By using the concept called as configuration packages, what are the setups we do in the test instance, all you can copy to production. It's a simple activity.
Yeah.
Okay. Say you implemented entire financials in this test instance. You tested, everything is working fine. Now the same setups we require in the production. Yes, reality we require same setups in the production. So those you can move from test instance to production instance by using the concept called as configuration packages. In our classes, we'll see what process we have to follow, how to move.
Got it. Thank you.
For it. Yeah. Any questions, please? Fine. Now we have to discuss about another instance. Say for example, you have a test instance. In the test instance, you completed setup for ABC company. ABC company. Now this instance you can call as ABC instance, nothing wrong. Since you have all setups within this test instance. All the setups you created in the test instance with the company name called as ABC. In the same way, what Oracle is doing is, Oracle is providing one instance for learning purpose. When they are providing one instance for learning purpose, they are creating some sample data. Okay, they are creating some setups with a name called as vision. Here I take an example, ABC company. If you do the setups within this instance that you call as ABC instance. What Oracle is doing is, Oracle is providing one instance. Within that instance, to create the sample data, calendars, chart of accounts, primary ledger, legal entity, business unit, enterprise, inventory organizations, all these they are creating. And again, they are doing the setups for payables, receivables, and all applications. That means they are providing instance with the sample data with a company called as Vision. So that is the reason the instance which Oracle provides that we call as Vision instance. Okay, do they provide Vision instance for every company? No. Ideally, they provide Vision instance for learning purpose. What is the difference between these instances and this instance? You may get instance for development purpose or test purpose or production purpose. Whatever the instance you get from Oracle, these will be blank. These are blank instances. You have to create everything from the scratch. But in the Vision instance, there will be sample data. Just if you want to refer how calendars are created, how primary ledgers are created, how business units, legal entity, how payables setups are done, how you can create invoices and all. If you want to verify, you can verify within this Vision instance. Okay, you can check within the Vision instance. That means within this, okay, in these instances, there won't be any sample data, but in the Vision instance, you can have a sample data. In the Vision instance, you can have a sample data. Okay, that is a point we have to understand. Vision instance means Oracle provides one instance with the sample data. Within the sample data, what are the company name they use? The company name is Vision. Company name is Vision. That is the reason instance name we are calling as Vision instance. It's nothing but with the sample data with the company called as Vision. If they do the setups with the name, company name called as XYZ, then they may call that instance name as XYZ instance. Nothing but sample data instance. Even if that is sample data instance, you can use this instance to create everything from the scratch. Okay, to create everything with this scratch. There will be sample data. If you want to use for reference, you can use, or else you can create everything from the scratch. So the instance whatever I am going to use for our classes, I'll use the fresh instance without any sample data. The instance which I provide for you for your practice, I'll provide the Vision instance. Within that, you can see the sample data. If you want to refer, you can refer. Otherwise, ignore. You can create everything from the scratch. So this is the point you can understand. Okay, whatever the instance you will get for your practice, Within that, you'll have a sample data. If you want to refer, you can refer. But anyway, in our classes, I'll explain you more detail level. We'll create everything from the scratch. So you don't need to refer anything which Oracle is providing as a sample. Real time, how we do that implementation, how we do the setups, what process we have to follow, that we'll discuss and we'll do in our classes. So that is the reason you no need to refer any sample data. If you want to see, you can see. Please, if you guys are interested to verify how Oracle created and all, in that case, that information will be useful for you. So this is what you have to understand. So any questions from anyone, please? Okay, any questions from anyone, please? And one more point.
Can you,
Yeah, please.
can you go up the screen? Can you up the screen? Yes, this point, don't take a segment in chart of account which are specific to the application. Can you explain one time?
We discussed, right? Did you get any point from the, any meaning from that already?
No,
No.
don't think
Information
so.
about that statement, because already we discussed. Yes or no? Just simple.
No.
No. Okay. The meaning is, okay, as we discussed, you have a supplier. Supplier you can use in which application?
AP.
Purchase orders you can use in the purchasing application. To create the purchase invoices you can use in the payables application. The supplier you can use in the purchasing applications and the payables application. So when you record the transactions in the purchasing applications or payables application, in each transaction you can select supplier. The purchase order belongs to which supplier, invoices belongs to which supplier, you can select. That means you can track the details in the respective applications. Okay. You can track that information in the payables and purchasing application. Which information? Supplier information. You are able to track supplier information in the relevant application. You don't need to take supplier in the chart of accounts.
Okay, I got it. Okay, I got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Then talk about customer. Same. Customer you can track when you create the transaction, sales orders in order management or invoices in the receivables application, sales invoice. That is the reason you should not take. So if you go to this application, there won't be any company. That is the reason you have to include company in the chart of accounts. If you go to payables application, there won't be any departments. Okay, in the payables application, you can have invoices and suppliers, banks, and all this information you can have. So what companies you have, you cannot have in the payables application. Which accounts you have, you cannot have in the payables application. In the payables application, when you are recording the transaction, what information reality will miss in the payables application, that is required. In the same way, which data you cannot find in the many applications, that data you have to include in the chart of accounts. Yep. Right. Any other questions, please?
Hey Lakshman, Anita here. So for the Vision instance, even when the client got the license for the instance for the test and the production instance, will they get Vision as well?
No. Say you are working for, say, IBM company. Okay. So IBM is implementation partner with Oracle. They can do the implementation for their clients. Okay, there is a company called as the ABC company. We have Oracle here. The product is owned by Oracle. The Oracle cannot sell the product in the market. They can do it, but alone they cannot do good business. That is the reason they are inviting, okay, implementation partners. Say IBM became implementation partner to Oracle to implement Oracle Fusion applications. When IBM is Oracle's partner, implementation partner, not product partner, okay, just implementation partner. That means IBM will take the license from Oracle saying that your product we are interested to sell in the market, we want to do implementation, so that IBM can get business and Oracle also can get business. If IBM is selling, identifying the ABC company, and if they recommend Oracle Fusion applications are good for your company, these are the futures, then IBM tell to this, the ABC company will give the project to IBM, Anyway, IBM, this ABC company should take the license or subscription from Oracle to implement that product. IBM will come into the picture. Now IBM is a consulting company. So when IBM is going to do the implementation for ABC company will get only these 2 instances. If they buy, they will get development also. So IBM is consulting company, okay, consulting partner with Oracle. Oracle will provide Vision instance for IBM since they have Fusion practice. Okay, that means if you are going to work for one company, consulting company, that company will have Vision instance. Say you are working in IBM. IBM has their Vision instance which they got from Oracle. You are working for TCS. Yes, TCS company will have Vision instance which they get from Oracle since they are implementation partners with Oracle. But the instance, the Oracle applications are used by a company called as ABC company. The ABC company never get Vision instance from Oracle. Okay, they'll provide fresh instance only that they can use how they require for testing purpose or production purpose or development purpose. So this is a point you have to understand. Consulting companies can have Vision instance which they get from Oracle since they are implementation partners, and the end customer who is using the Fusion application, they'll get instances like the production and the test. If they buy, they pay more for additional instances, accordingly they can get it. Yep.
Okay, and for example, if there is no implementation partners, few clients directly they'll hire the consultants and they'll create their own team and they'll do directly the implementation, right?
Yeah.
Some few clients.
Let's talk on that. So ABC company wants to use Fusion applications. Ideally, they'll try to find. They may directly contact Oracle. ABC company directly can contact Oracle. From Oracle side also, there is a team who can do the implementation for ABC company. Or else there are many implementation partners with Oracle. They may contact IBM or TCS, some other company. Or else, say this ABC company contacted IBM. They given some X value for implementation cost. This much we charge. Okay, they may contact other companies also. They identified some number, this much we cost. And finally, they may contact Oracle also. Oracle also will give some number, this much will charge to implement. Then they will plan. Instead of contacting Oracle and IBM, if we hire the consultants, okay, so how many consultants we required? Say 5 consultants. The duration, how much IBM is saying or Oracle is saying? They are saying 6 months. Yes. From IBM side, we will work consultants only. Who are working with IBM, the same consultant, let's hire from the market. If they want to implement financials, they'll hire Oracle Fusion financial consultants. So they will have formed their internal IT team. They'll hire 5 consultants. With that 5 consultants, if they are experts, however, this IBM Oracle has experienced consultants. In the same way, if the ABC company will hire, the team can implement. The cost may be 50% compared to what IBM or TCS and Oracle is saying. That's how they will plan. They can have a internal IT team. In that case, they can go with their own implementation. So this is what few companies follows. Yep. Most of the companies go with the implementation partners, Oracle implementation partners like IBM and other companies.
So when they are doing the implementation their own without any implementation partner, in that particular point of time, will they get Vision instance?
No, they don't get.
Even
partners. They are not partners. They don't get.
Oh, okay.
Okay. If they are interested to get and if they are interested to pay, they can get it.
Okay, even in that case, in the particular point of time, the ABC company is implementing their own. In that particular point, if they are buying the product from the Oracle, though they have to have
scenario, the ABC company may take the license as subscription through IBM or direct. They'll get only 2 instances.
Only 2.
There won't be sample data, fresh instances.
Okay. If they wanted, for example, to get more something to know how it is going to help the consultants, they wanted to pay to just to see the data, how it is going like that. So they wanted to pay for the vision
You
instance.
try to understand here for ABC company who are going to work, there are experts. They don't need to refer anything. Why IBM is going to have a vision instance from Oracle? Because they provide the training, they just build the competence of their fusion practices, and that is the reason they may need it. Even if this company required, if this company is requesting, provide one test instance with a vision data, then they can provide. But ideally, they get only these two.
Okay, got
They
it.
request the test instance, they can fill with the vision data and they can provide. But ideally, these people don't require. These people are not going to practice. These people are not going to learn. These people are going to implement. Yeah. So this is the point we have to understand. Any questions from anyone, please? Again, the user creation and all, it may take some time if you start discussing now. That we'll see in the tomorrow session. Any questions on today's session, please? Okay, by comparing with the EBS multi-org or the best practices, and what is the landscape of the instance we use at the time of implementation, or any other points. Okay, if this is a case, how to handle, that is a case, how to manage, that sort of questions related to chart of accounts or enterprise structure or any business scenario, please let me know, we'll discuss. But you will come to know everything when we start working on the system, because we have to start one by one so that we'll be able to cover those concepts. Still any questions at this stage, please? You can raise the questions right from beginning, from first session to till today. Any questions from anyone, please? Okay, no questions. Okay, no questions, we can wind up for today. We'll connect tomorrow. In tomorrow session, we'll see how to create the user. We'll start with the system from tomorrow. We'll start with the system, we'll complete few things. Then again, we'll discuss some concepts which you have to understand theoretically. Again, we'll proceed with the system. Like system, theoretical understanding, again system. This is how we'll move on. If no questions, we can wind up for today. We'll connect tomorrow. Any questions, please?